very much for inviting me. There's obviously so many old friends here that I haven't seen for a very long time. I don't know where she's gone, she's there. My name's Claire McCold and I'm Director of Culture for the City. I've been Director of Culture for the last 10 years, and before that I worked as a Capital Culture bid, and I worked in Speak in the Dingle and in Garston as a community arts worker. So I've been here a long time now. I came to Liverpool in the late 1980s when it was a very different place, this city, and to see it now, it's quite incredible about how far it's come and how far actually it's still got to go. So thank you very much for inviting me to speak. What I thought I'd do is I'd just take you on a quick journey on kind of whole cultural development that we've done. I can talk for a lot, so please stop me if I'm really boring people, so just cut me off. And it'd be lovely to have some questions. It's much better having a discussion. When we decided to bid, some of you may have heard some of this before, but when we decided to bid to be European Capital of Culture, which was a long time ago now, it was in 2003, it was in 1999 the decision was made to bid for European Capital of Culture. And the story goes that the letter had come from government to ask if it's interested in being European Capital of Culture. Someone in the Liverpool City Council at the time put it in a bin, and the then leader of the council dug it out and thought, well, actually, this might be quite a good thing because we've got lots of changes to make in the city. It will give some people something very positive to look forward to. And look, at least we could at least get shortlisted. Now, that really shows the confidence that there was in the city at that particular point in time, and how low the city had become, and how low the confidence of the city had become. To think a city as great as this, with its history, never mind the fact it's got 7 national museums, Tate Gallery, the only kind of UK biennial, all those kind of different called the Royal Liverpool Philharmonic, I could go on and on. Aside from all of that, the fact that the city had lost its confidence so much that it felt it could only be shortlisted is quite incredible, really, and that's not that far ago. But we decided to bid for European Capital of Culture. It was a very small bid team. We took a very different tact on it, for those of you that were part of it and remember it. We decided to go very much from a community angle and about citizens of the city being involved in their future. And that is done all the time now in all bids, but at that point in time it wasn't. They were seen very much as marketing things to do. They weren't seen as things that really should impact on people and communities in the city that they serve. We had a whole programme called Creative Communities, funded by the European Union. It was huge. It's led to organisations like Assemble that you see in Granby Ford Street. It's led to Homebake, it's led to Anfield, it's led to all the work the Philharmonic does in North Liverpool. It was a huge programme of work that was about embedding culture within communities and doing something different. We got to 2003 and we were shortlisted, and I really remember sitting there at the time and people, we should have been shortlisted, but we still didn't have the confidence in the city to think we could be. And when we were shortlisted, there was a real moment, and the then leader, Mike Story, and the chief executive, David Henshaw, just said, and I really remember going out the door after we found out we were shortlisted, where they said, we could win this. And at that moment, it felt like the whole city was behind something. And I think that was what was amazing for me. It's the thing I'm most proud of. I'm most proud of the Capital Culture bid. Because what it felt like is we engaged everyone felt part of it. When the judges came up, anyone they bumped into knew about it. They talked to them about how great the city was. And then when we won, on the morning when we won, it's quite incredible because it felt like the city's confidence had just taken a massive leap, and we'd won for something that was great and something that was really positive. And then from that point to when we actually delivered it, there was lots of issues, which some of you with very long memories will remember. Ups and downs, all reported very well by the Daily Post. But it wasn't the easiest delivery period, but Capital of Culture never are, because they become about everything. And actually, all the way through that difficult time between bid and delivery, the programme of work was always fantastic. Fiona Gasper, who's my other half, and myself, the programme was always great. So it was always going to be great, but the politics and kind of everything else does kind of interfere when you're trying to do major big events like that. Delivered European Capital of Culture 10 years ago, 11 years ago now really, and the moment that we opened in the Plateau, had one of you at the Plateau at St George's Hall when it started? Yeah, it was a real moment, because it was really funny, because I am a real, believe it or not, in this job, I am an absolute worrier of everything. And I remember standing there and saying to Phil Redmond, no one's coming. Because at half past, and Liverpool audiences are an absolute nightmare, because they turn up at the last minute and then they disappear at the end. So they turn up at the last minute, they don't come early. And at 6:30, I was on North West Tonight saying, it's going to be fantastic, we've worked really hard. We'd had 3 nights where we hadn't slept. We had to do the lighting, the dress rehearsal on the night before because it had been so cold that all the lights were freezing the day before. We'd never done an event of that scale before in the city in any way at all. And at 6:30, North West Tonight were talking to me and there was just nobody behind. And then by 8, because we were going to do it 8 minutes past 8, by 8, the police said, you have got to start now. There is no waiting because we could not fit anyone else into it. Because my partner at the time couldn't even get down the bottom of London Road, so I actually couldn't get out of the Empire to see the show that we'd created because it was so busy. And then from that moment on, it just rolled, didn't it, that year? You know, Superlab Bananas, Spiders, all the community stuff we did, beautiful things at the Philharmonic, great things with artists. And I think what that did, and it's interesting because you're a very international group, was it cemented our international credentials as a city, and it made us look outwards. So before that, there was a tendency in Liverpool, as there is in lots of places, to look inwards all the time and to talk about, you know, this is what we are rather than this is what we could be. And I think what Capital of Culture did was it really cemented our international credentials, and it opened us up to the world, it opened us up to international artists, it opened up our artists, our homegrown, born artists, to go out internationally because our artists are international artists. So it changed all that. And then from Capital of Culture, the very interesting moment because we changed political administration, which would have been very easy for Labour, who came in 2010 it was, to say, that's been done, we've done culture, we now want to do, I don't know, life sciences, or we want to do traffic, I don't know, we want to do something else because actually that's someone else's story. But they took an actually very brave decision to say, we're going to build on that. My first meeting with Joe Anderson was incredible because I just thought he doesn't like it because he'd been in opposition the whole time and was a nightmare, just to be clear. And then I went to see him and went, Joe, if you don't want it, I can't stay because my passion is doing events like Giants, you know, events like that's what drives me forward and drives the team that I've got forward. And he just went, I just want more, just go ahead, do it. Just do it and make it bigger and better. And that for me is all we needed. You know, you need that political support when you're in the world that I'm in, because if you haven't got it, it just becomes really, really hard because everything we do is a risk. You know, events can go wrong. And when they do go wrong, they're the most public things in the world to go wrong. But over the last 10 years, we have done most things right. We had one quite disappointing fireworks night. But that's about it. And I think if I look back over the last 10 years, what I'm most proud of probably is 2 things. One is in terms of the ambition of the city. Not many cities shut their whole streets off and close the cities down for something like a Giants, where every resident can come out for free with their families, with their friends. We bring people from all over the world here and walk the streets, the pavements of the city and dream in the way that Royal Deluxe kind of engages you to dream. Cities don't do that anymore, and I'm really proud that this city does it, and I think that's really important. And the other thing I'm exceptionally proud of is in the world that we're in, with the austerity that we're facing and the cuts that the City Council has had to put in, we have supported the cultural sector. So it's not just about the big, beautiful things we do, the River Festival, you know, all of those things that bring people out in their thousands. It's also about constant support to the community arts sector and the cultural sector. And we're the only city in the country who has never cut them, you know, really believe that they can change the world, if you like, because I do believe that. And the kind of thing I'm challenged about now, after 10 years of real success, you know, Liverpool leading the field, is what does the next 10 years look like? You know, when you're on this, we can't do Giants again because they're not doing them again, but they captured something for this city that is really rare, because the artistic director has a personality quite like Liverpool. He's quite anarchic, he speaks his mind, he creates great beauty, he takes great risks, but when you've brought 1 million people out on the streets, what do you do that captures that sense of pride and place and imagination? That's challenging me at the moment. But the other thing is, there's a whole challenge to you, really. You know, I look now at buildings we invest in, you know, cultural buildings. There's a big one going up in Manchester very soon. We've got an opera house going up in London. And part of me thinks, if given the budget of a building over the next 10 years in this city, what we could do. Because actually, cities are more than their buildings, and we have, as a society, we always build things because we think that's easy and that's economic regeneration, and we've done it from our museums of old through to the buildings that we're building now. But actually, if we could do Giants, lantern parades, bringing people together in the way that we bring them together through culture and community, would we have the situation that we're in now? would we have the division that we're in now? You know, is there a different way where we can believe that events and what they do and what they achieve are just as important as building bricks and mortar? And that's a real thing for me, I think, looking at the next 10 years, because I think if any city can change that narrative, this one can, so that's quite exciting. I'll stop now because I could probably go on, but thank you. I hope that's given you a bit of food for thought. You've all obviously been around and seen things over the last 15, 20 years, so you'll understand where we've been and kind of where we are now, and actually still how fragile it is. Because I'm looking at you thinking, I've got a boy your age, and he and my 17-year-old daughter do not remember Liverpool how it was. You know, my 17-year-old daughter, 18-year-old daughter now, is just like, why would I want to be anywhere else? And I just look at her and think, that's the whole generational change. Because when I came here, people were like, why on earth are you going to Liverpool? You know, why are you going to Liverpool? Whereas now my daughter's like, why would I be anywhere else? Why? You know, what's better than here? And you just think, that is a massive generational change, you know, and I think I'll leave you with that one. Yes.